This is BoomerLife on CL 650.
And we're back. This is BoomerLife on CL 650. And joining us in the studio today from the BC Seniors Living Association, our Executive Director, Marlene Williams, along with board member Allison Howard and Lydia Miller. I don't know why I'm stumbling on your name, Lydia. It's a beautiful name. Continuing our conversation right now about choosing a retirement community, let me hear your thoughts on the qualities of a community, like businesses who have mission statements. Is it important to choose a community that actually stands for something?
I think it absolutely is. And I think what you're looking for is a community that shares your values. So there's lots of different types of communities out there. You've got to go and kick the tires of a few and look at the people who are living there. Look at their backgrounds. Look at what they're talking about over the dinner table. Look at what it is that the community itself is offering in terms of life enrichment or outings or social opportunities. Do those values align with my values? Can I see myself here? Does this company have a purpose over and above simply serving seniors? Is it about a life mission? Is there a passion for caring? And if those things are important to you and those tick your boxes, then you know that that's the right community for you. And most of our members are very open about what their mission is and what their focus is, and they are all incredibly highly purpose driven. Find the one that speaks to your values.
As an assessor, Lydia, what kind of questions do you get asked, about different communities?
Oh, goodness. Well,
like, could there be anything from, what type, is there a certain religion practiced here, or is there a multicultural environment, or is there, different food menus, or do you get any of these kind of questions? Or
not so much, not so much. They want to know more about what we look for and how we determine, the quality of any category, whether it be the emergency procedures, whether it be fire safety, whether it be resident satisfaction, and staff training. It's all so important, right? Because you're responsible for the welfare and the safety of these seniors who are a delicate generation. They're the silent generation. They're the great generation. And it's now our turn to look out for them. So the standards are very important. And the buildings that we go in and do the assessments on, I'd say over 90% are reassessments, because they so believe in that seal of approval. They have the plaque mounted very proudly in their front entranceways. And there are some salespeople, where you go on a tour, they actually pointed out that we're a member of the BCSLA and we have the seal of approval.
This is a perfect opportunity to actually explain, what is that seal of approval?
The seal of approval is a self-regulating operational model. It was originally established with ORCA, which is the Ontario Retirement Communities Association, and it has been part of their model for probably the last 15 or 20 years. And we work very, very closely with the other sister associations, and so we asked them if we could have their model, and then we conformed it to the BC standards within our province, like the safety and the WMIS and the health standards and all those type of things. So we actually decided that we would go out and talk to our members, and we said, do you want this in your province? Do we want a self-regulating model that you can proudly say, I have the highest standard of service and I can prove it because they've been here to inspect me? And hands down, everybody said, yes, we do want it. So it started in 2009, started out quite slowly. So there's you get assessed once every 2 years. And we assess 5 areas within the seal of approval. So we do safety, which is the biggest area, which is your safety and your fire and your boiler and everything that has to do with a big fire and safety plan, right? We have infection control. So as we know, once one senior gets the flu, it can spread like wildfire. So there's a whole infection control section in it. And then staff training, as Lydia said, is very, very important. And then that's why we provide a lot of training modules within our association to keep the staff up to date, the latest, greatest refresher courses on everything that has to do with working with seniors. And then resident services, that's all about what do the seniors really want? Like, is there a survey that you do every 2 years? Is there a resident council? Are the activities that are in your building pertinent to what your seniors want, not what you think they should be doing? And then there's the assisted living section, which, as you know, or you may know, in British Columbia, we are the only province in Canada that has an official assisted living registry that is governed under the Ministry of Health. And so we have a whole section there which conforms to the licensed regulations within the assisted living registrar. So the seal of approval is, like I said, voluntary. It's self-regulated. We have talked to the Ministry of Health about it. We've talked to the assisted living registry. We've worked with BC Housing on it, because what we want the government to know is that we run the highest quality of standard and service in senior living communities and for the seniors that we serve, that they don't need to get involved with us. They don't need to regulate us because we do it the best already. And so far they've said, great, you're doing a great job. We don't need to get involved. So it serves a purpose within our community, because once the government gets involved, then it becomes very prescriptive. And so we want the lifestyle and the choice and the seniors to be able to run their own and direct their own care, which is what our model is all about, is the seniors saying, this is what I want and need, and I'm going to do it.
So for the senior that's looking for this new community and potentially, finds a place they'd like to move into, I'm taking the seal of approval as something that would be similar to if I were running a business. It would be like that stamp of approval from the Better Business Bureau.
Yep. Or if you go into a hotel, 4-star, 5-star, that type of thing, it's along that. It's just basically saying we're the best and we can proudly boast it.
We've met this high standard criteria. We've either met it or exceeded it. We have, and it's documented. We have proof as to where we have done all of these things. So what it provides for the family and for the prospective resident is just an understanding that there is a high level of quality in that building, and that they've met that criteria, and it's a great sense of peace of mind for family.
And it's not a slam dunk. I mean, there's some communities that get put on action plans. Now, the action plans aren't anything serious, but it could be as simple as, for an example, we just had one community that was assessed and they were put on a small action plan because they hadn't done a resident survey in 2 years. And so we said, well, as part of making sure that your residents, so they said, fine. And they implemented a resident survey, boom, they passed. So, we go through and we actually ask them to document everything that we want to see, and then that's what the assessor checks, and that's what Lydia does when she goes out.
And there was, another simple example is there's so much food services, there's so much culinary involved, there's kitchen practices, there's temperatures, there's cooking, there's cleaning, all that stuff we check, hazardous chemicals, proper waste management policies and procedures are in place, et cetera, and then the training that backs it up with the certificates in the employee files, for instance. I would go in and take a look to see that everybody in the kitchen or is in the dining room serving has serving it right. Simple as, oh, okay, I'm checking the files, but we don't have it, but we see on your calendar that you did do the employee training. Easy. The director of admin had all the certificates, right? So there are checks and balances in place just to ensure that the back end meets up with the front end that the residents and the families are seeing. So that everything is safe, it is secure, and operating at the highest standards of quality.
Sounds excellent. The seal of approval. I know we'll be talking about this more in the future as well. So and a quick summary of today's show and our conversation about choosing the right community and helping seniors.
Your story.
And our seniors in doing it. Oh, my story is going to take way more than 2 minutes. We'll have to get to that. But I just wanted to say that I find a lot of comfort, and I have found comfort in everything that you have contributed today, all three of you, in regards to the conversation I had with my mother-in-law, and that started 3 years ago. She did find a seniors community to move into. May not have been the one that we had chosen as a family, but it suited her needs. And everything you said about, squandering money away when they were, growing up through the war years and not wanting to spend too much, but wanting to be in an area that they were familiar with, the most important things to them, that's how she made her decision. And so it's just been reinforced by everything you've mentioned today.
And you also said that when your mother-in-law moved in the community that she was quite she wasn't as social as you would have liked to have been, and then you told us a great story about how that's changed since she's moved in there.
Oh my gosh, she did not have a strong social life, living in a big house she'd been in for 50 years. She'd wave at the neighbor over the fence maybe once or twice, and when her husband died, and I said, well, thankfully you've got great neighbors, and she said, well, I guess so. And I said, well, you've had them over, haven't you? And she said, no. But then she moved into the seniors community. She throws us out now. She's so busy. She has no time for us as the family, but she's made friends. She works out. She's gone to the fitness class, the yoga class, the bus tours, Really.
So she is going to be our poster child.
She will be. We'll bring her on one of the future shows.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All of you, thank you very much for joining us today. Our Executive Director, Marlene Williams from BC's Senior Living Association. Also, Board Member Alison Howard and Lydia Miller. It's been a great conversation today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.
You've been listening to Boomer Life on CL 650.
Okay.